Hey there, beautiful souls. I'm Colynn Hlokoff.
And I'm Meridee Hlokoff.
And welcome to Spiritual Sisters with Sass, the podcast where two sisters with a passion for spirituality and a touch of sass come together to explore the exciting world of self-improvement.
That's right, Colynn. We embarked on this incredible journey together, diving into different self-improvement techniques, yoga practices, and a whole array of life experiences.
Yeah, and through it all, we've managed to create lives that are abundant, happy, and constantly evolving. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it, Meridee?
You bet, sis. We've got two very different perspectives on life, but that's what makes this podcast so special. I'm all about diving in head first into life's adventures and embracing every challenge with a bit of sass. While Colynn here, she's got her own unique approach.
Yep, that's me. And I'm all about the yoga, mindfulness, and finding my zen. And together we make the perfect balance.
So whether you're looking for some wisdom, a few laughs, or just some heartfelt stories, you're in the right place. We're here to share our personal experiences and insights with you, all while exploring the wild and diverse world of self-improvement.
So grab your headphones and get ready for a fantastic journey with us. Spiritual Sisters with Sass is here to uplift, inspire, and keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in, lovely listeners. Let's dive in.
Spirit and sass. Here we go. All right, everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Spiritual Sisters with Sass. I'm off running a retreat again, I think. Well, I have done a podcast here before. That's great. So I'm off running a retreat again, and it's been really centered around a concept. So I'm going to introduce the concept, go teach a little bit about it, and then we're going to get into a conversation around it and our own experiences with it.
Yeah.
So
and this is a part one of two
right
kind of podcast. So you need to listen to this one and then listen to the next one next week.
Yeah. So concept, get out of your head, get into your body. That's it. A majority of people spend their time living up here instead of living in here. Why would we do that? Right? Well, because if you recognize some of the stories that you have about yourself, you'll recognize that they're all kind of based or rooted in I'm not enough. So that includes the body that you're housed in. And the way that you would know if you're in your head or in your body is that if you're in your head, then you're thinking all the time. Externally about all these other things, making up stories, excuses, all of the things. So I'm just going to tell you that's pretty much 99% of all people. As soon as I start mentioning this stuff, spiritual people are oh, and they almost disregard it, because I find this spiritual bypassing that happens because I've already done this work. And it's dude, great. I'm glad you touched on it once.
Except every day, all day,
right?
Your thoughts are going. So good for you.
Yes.
Continue the work.
Yes. Keep doing it, because guess what? Every day you're taking a pathway about how you suck and how you're not good enough. And so one of the things is you are not a human here having a spiritual experience. You are a spirit here having a human experience. So it's about being in the muck, not up there thinking you figured it out or you haven't figured it out or what's wrong with you or what's going on, and judging that person and then judging yourself and worried about what your car looks like or what kind of car you're driving, and whatever the stories are going. That's how I know. If you're in your body, then you are more focused on reading.
Oh, spider.
Back up! It's one of those jumping ones. Okay, bye. Right on my face. I did pretty good though, right? Can I tell you a
Yeah,
quick
you
little
didn't even
story?
scream.
Last night, no, 2 nights ago, laying down, and I feel a massive cockroach crawl across my face. I wake up and I'm like, I go like this because I know, because this has happened to me before, but this one's big and I can feel it. And I go like this and it's like little sticky legs,
Ugh.
stick, and it doesn't get off of my face. And so I get up and then all of a sudden I hear, I'm like, Rafa, did you feel something on your face? And he's like, yeah, but he takes pills to, and it just knocks him out. Power off is what he calls it. And so I'm like, oh my God, turn on the light. It's fucking huge. And it's in the
Ew.
bed. And I'm like, oh God. So I like try to get it out of the bed, and then it goes under the bed. And I just want it out. And then finally I'm like kicking the bed, and then it goes out and under the door. And then I'm like, okay, cool, go back to sleep now. Anyways,
Oh my.
side story, that happened to me. It was disgusting. I was still traumatized. Anyways, back to like in the body, right? That's the piece, is like in the body, I will feel my nervous system from that situation, because that's definitely a fight or flight trigger out of nowhere at 4 a.m. while I'm sleeping. That's an on. How do I turn off? Right? And that is based on like how in your body you are. Because if you're out of your body, now, why would you be out of your body? Well, for me, my body isn't safe because my body is bad. My body is fat. My body doesn't fit society's norms or standards. And that's always been like one of my stories. For other people, pain. If you're in a lot of pain, that's not a safe place to be. Pain hurts.
That was my story.
Right? So you go up here where you're safe, where you can think about all the things that you can do to stop the pain, right? As opposed to one of the concepts, like a big concept, is that Rafa just came in and then I like blanked on what.
Well, and while we're paused here on that, I also want
Yeah.
to interrupt that I think part of the human experience is looking at the fact that, oh, look at the car I drive, and then coming to a place where it's okay that you're not driving this other car, or that like the situations are what they are, and letting them go. Being okay with the situation that you're in, and stop trying to spiritually bypass everything by being, I've already worked through this, or
Up in the
it's okay
ethers.
when I go back to spirit, it won't matter, any of those things, because guess what? You're not up there yet. When you get back there, you can worry about those things. But right now, we need to worry about being in this moment, in this body, looking at what you don't like so you can figure out what you do like.
And also just kind of like healing what's in there.
Yes.
So if you were out of your body and you're in your head, you're thinking about pain because you're in pain, what happens is essentially you'll create more pain, right? Because that's the mindset. That's where your attention goes, your energy grows. So it's focused on pain. Even though it's focused on stopping pain, it's just focused on that you're in pain. Now, think about this, or anxiety fits the same. Think about this. What if your body's just talking to you? Like, what if it's just trying to tell you that you're out of alignment? So let's think about this for a second too. I spend a lot of time with like, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I'm not my labels. I'm not my body. I'm not my emotions. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not any of these things. So who am I, right? I'm the impartial witness. I'm the part of me that's God. We've talked about like all these things. I'm that perfect, like whole being that was born that way and still am that. So if I'm away from that because I'm in my head and I don't identify, so I'm identifying with all the other things, my body is trying to remind me that I need to get back into it and get out of thinking externally, because
Yeah.
the answers are in me, not outside of me. And so what if I'm let's just say a soul or a spirit that's in this meat suit and I'm trying to talk to me, but I'm an impartial witness, like how would I get my attention? Do you think that you speak English or that this body speaks English? Like,
My body and my mouth speak English.
right. The truth is your body and your mouth speak English, not you. So why do we think that the body speaks to us in English? It doesn't speak English. How is the body going to talk to you? I'm your boob. Like, go get me checked. No, the body's going to talk in the way that it knows how to talk. So that could be like, even just if I think of pink, like I think of like a pastel pink, I think of rose quartz, and then I think of self-care. That's how the body can communicate. So I do a practice called daily check-in, and it's like, what does my physical body need? What does my emotional self, my intellectual self, and my spiritual self? And so sometimes I'll just like get pink. That's it talking
Self-care.
to me.
It's time for some self-care. Well,
When
and
you listen to it, when you listen to it, it's going to be more subtle. When you don't listen to it,
it's loud. And I want to say, when we're talking about the body, it's that also externally, it has already shown you these things. It's given you signs or hints or whatever you want to call it, and it's put it right in front of you. And you've been like, oh, cool. And you keep going. Same as with your body. It'll be like, hey, I'm just going to give you a little twinge here because your shoulder hurts. And the reason your shoulder or your neck are hurting is because you're not dealing with this emotional shit that's going on. And then I don't listen. And then all of a sudden, my neck is so bad that I have a pounding headache. And legitimately, I could have avoided this headache. I could have avoided even something so extreme as a car accident had to happen to slow you the fuck down because you're not listening. So I've shown you through your body, I've shown you through multiple different levels, you're not doing it. This is where sickness comes in. Sickness comes in because you just won't slow down. You won't stop. You won't do the things. You're out of alignment. So the universe is going to put you back into alignment.
Well, it's not putting you back into alignment. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to
Touché.
keep listening to the story
Yeah.
or like living out the lessons, but it's trying to support you in recognizing that you're out of alignment so you can go back into alignment. It's providing us with situations all the time. Like you said, like you get in a car accident and you break your leg and then you're stuck like in bed or you can't do something. But what do
Yes.
you do? No, we make crutches, walking boots. We have scooters for our legs now so that we don't even miss a beat or deal with the
So we can keep
trauma.
going too fast.
Go back to work. You only broke your leg. What's the big deal? There's all these things that can keep you productive, which is external. Again, living in your head. How can I be better? I'm not enough. I got to do more. I need more money.
Yeah.
So I talk about this with anxiety because I would say nowadays the younger generation, and that I don't love it when people do that, but I also feel it like it's more of an identity. And I know that people are like, many of us are like, what, something's wrong with me, and then trying to figure out what it is so we can fix it, right? The problem is that there's nothing wrong with us. So we're not going to find it and we're not going to be able to fix it. But what this like more like into the medical Western drug system, again, handled by commercialism, is like, there is something wrong with you. It's called this, and here's a drug that you can take to make it better. Now, don't get me wrong, because antibiotics have a place. This is going to happen. Let's stop that. I think that many of us that have like depression, and don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if you have anxiety, that's not what's wrong with you.
There
And
is
this
something
pill
telling
isn't,
you something
right?
in that. And anxiety is part of stress, which is the silent killer. And they say that because your body is in dis-ease. So there's another level to this as well, where you can say in a deeper way, where am I also not in alignment? So with me being in addictions, I was smoking pot chronically, quite chronically. And I would tell my clients, yeah, you can still smoke marijuana even if you're quitting smoking, and you can. However, if you're replacing one addiction with another, we're not really giving up our addiction, are we? And I have to tell you that in those senses, I knew deep down that I wasn't in alignment with everything I was trying to help people with.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also not in a place, and this is an excuse, but I was not in a place where I was ready to deal with those things yet. I was in chronic pain, and the only place I could live was inside my head. And inside my head, not always the best place to be. In fact, most of the time it's not. And Tony Robbins literally walks around tapping his head saying, in your head, you're dead. And if somebody's telling a story and they start getting inside their head, he literally starts tapping his head being like, yo, stupid, wake up. So what are we doing to put ourselves, or what are we doing that is super out of alignment with what you ultimately desire? Now, what I've found is that one of the reasons we're so out of alignment is because most people don't even know what they want. It's okay to not want what Lynn and I want. We want like a certain level of things. We need people in the world who are happy working at Tim Hortons, because if not, we're not going to be able to go get our Tim Hortons.
There'd be no
We
Tim
want people who are
Hortons.
happy doing that. We don't need you to need what we want, but you need to be clear about what you want. I want to work at Tim Hortons and be at home every day by 2 o'clock so I can hang out with my kids. I want to pay my bills and be content with that. I have a friend who, she literally said to me, I'm super content. My husband and I make enough money to get by. We take care of our kids. We have quality time with our kids. I need nothing more than what I've got right now. Perfect. I'm so glad for you. And she's like, why do you always want so much more? And I was like, honestly, I can't even tell you. There's something inside me that says that I'm meant for more for me than being content with exactly where I am. And it doesn't mean that I won't ever get to a place where I am content with exactly where I am, but my purpose. So what is your purpose in this, on this earth? What is your purpose in this body? Because my purpose in this body, on this earth, is to help people become the best version of themselves. And for me, that means helping them through their addictions and bad behaviors and excuses and heal their trauma so that they can actually step into that better version of themselves. And I've helped some people do that. And I have to tell you that that is what makes me feel fulfilled. It makes me feel like, it doesn't make me feel anything. I feel when I'm doing these things that I am fulfilling my purpose. And when I'm fulfilling my purpose, I feel full. I feel literally, I get these like, this is what you're here to do. And then I just feel like, oh, we just had an amazing conversation with my daughter's best friend who's going through some things and struggling so hard to go through these things. And then we had this like coaching session with all of the girls together. And I came in the house and was like, oh, like, I just feel like this is what I'm here for. So when I'm not in alignment with that, I feel anxiety, I feel depression, I feel sadness. I mean, also hormones can also bring that on for me. Just saying, there is moments where these things come on. But for the most part, if I am feeling anxious, depressed, angry, frustrated, annoyed, I'm not where I am supposed to be. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, learning to move into where I want to be. How's that? Because I am sitting in my discomfort when I'm doing it. Whereas right now, what we seem to do is feel discomfort and run like hell. The first thing we all want to do is be like, nope, I'm out. Relationships, things get hard with your spouse. Guess what? The first thing we want to do is, well, I'm out. I'm not sticking to this. This is bullshit. Things are going to be hard sometimes. That's life. But a huge shift for me in that was why is this happening to me, but why is this happening for me? And what lesson do I need to learn? Because for me, challenges only come when I have something to learn.
When
And
you're out of
yes,
alignment.
challenges are there all the fucking time, just saying.
Yeah, when you're out of alignment.
Yes.
That's the piece. So there's a concept about fragmentation. And what that means is like you're born whole, right? And then the stories that you create, like it's like just imagine a mirror and you smash it with a rock. And then the mirror kind of like shatters into lots of different pieces. And so all these pieces they know they're whole. So they're looking to come back, and we're attracting in situations to let us know like, hey, I just was working with someone and we're talking about like how abuse equals love.
Mm-hmm.
That's a story that this person learned. And so
a lot of us learn.
And then keep attracting in people that are abusive, but then taking it as love, and like not the opposite of what you were saying is like not even quitting, just like relentlessly enabling this person and then this other person and then this other person to continue to abuse us because we think that that's love. So it's happening so that we can be like, oh, that's not love. But what do we do when we're in our head? We like create all these stories about like, oh, I'm a bad wife, or oh, I have to do this, or oh my gosh, I better give them money because they'll die. And then we let people manipulate us and gaslight us. That's there. But in our body, we're like, oh no, that's not love. I'm not gonna take that.
Yeah,
That
if
doesn't
you
feel
settle
good in my
into your,
body.
yes, if you settle into taking a breath and moving yourself down, even just feel into your heart, how does this feel here? Take a breath and you'll know exactly how it feels. You know what? This doesn't feel right. Your brain will be like, oh, but you better do it. Go back to your heart because it doesn't feel right. And then usually when you go, okay, I'm going to follow my heart, not my head, the result later on shows up. So a great example of this is, parents who have to discipline their kids. I don't want to, it hurts me more than it hurts them. And it does. And I had to put myself in my own timeout multiple times raising my children. I would put the kids up, tell them go to the rooms, and then I'd go to my own room so I could sit there and calm myself down and commit to the fact that this is what they need. And then the long-term result would come around and I'd be like, okay, I'm glad I did the right thing. In today, I now have 2 kids that are really sorting their shit out, figuring it out. They're super conscious and aware. I'm going to say, and yes, I am biased, but I'm going to say that my kids are even in the top 10% of kids that are conscious in their 20s, because that's not something that's that common right now. And that's something that I have taught them by becoming conscious myself. So one of the things that I did have to do was literally, like, I remember Brooke saying to me, we'd get into a fight and she'd be like, you always give me the silent treatment. And I would be like, I do not. And then she would say to me, no, mom, literally you do. And I'd sit there and I'd be like, oh my God, I 100% give her the silent treatment. And so we sat down and I said, I need you to know why I give you the silent treatment. And she was like, what? And I was like, I don't do it on purpose. I'm not doing it so I can hurt you. I'm doing it so I don't hurt you, because the things that want to come out of my mouth are not nice. And because I am working on making that person inside shut up, I have to shut up, because otherwise I'm going to say things I'm going to regret later. And that's one thing that I will say that super proud of myself that I don't do. I don't say things to you now because I'm angry at you. I shut up and take a minute so I have nothing I back later, because I can actually take it back once I've said it. You now know it's somehow a way I feel, even if it was only in the moment I'm angry.
See, all of
Again,
this is body.
This is being out of alignment. If I say things that aren't true because I'm mad at you, I want you to hurt because I'm hurting.
Right.
I'm not in alignment with who I actually want to be, which is kind and loving. Oh, she's frozen.
No, I
is.
can
So
still hear you.
for me, that's another perfect example of being out of alignment. Are you okay? For like with my kids, is this how I want to show up in the world? Do I want to be yelling at my kids? Can I take a minute, take a breath, and have a conscious conversation with them instead? Because being in alignment for me is that having these conscious conversations with my kids, not screaming and yelling at them because I came in and I'm pissed off.
Yeah, I hear
back.
what you're saying. And that's the piece, is like, I mean, that's the work, but that you can only recognize again when you get out of your head. Yeah, but those are the things that only happen when you start to look inside. Right? We have 8 limbs of yoga. The first one is yamas, so that's things not to do, right? And then the second limb is niyamas, and those are things to do. And the last 2 are svadhyaya and then ishvara pranahana. And svadhyaya is self-study. So, the 8 limbs bring you to a meaningful and purposeful life. And so the only way that we can have a meaningful and purposeful life is if we stop looking outside and we start looking in, and then we study ourselves, not others, ourselves, because we also have to think we're attracting in who we are. So anybody around you that sucks, that's great. Don't worry. It's because you attracted them in.
We were talking about being in your body and like becoming aware.
So Svadhyaya and Ishvara Pranahana. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
those two things. That's like looking in self. So studying yourself, not other people, because if you are studying them, that's great. But notice that you attracted them in with the same behaviors. So it's not them, it's you. Why are you attracting in people like that? What are you doing? And then Ishvara Pranahana is devotion to God or union with God. And so that's like, remember also that you're awesome. Like you could even go to like, you know, you were created in his image, which people then think like, oh, he was a human, right? He was a human. Like the idea is that like, yeah, because we're conscious creators. So you are a part of that, and there's nothing wrong with you. Because do you look at a butterfly
And why
that
is
isn't
it
perfectly symmetric and then be like, that's such a piece of shit butterfly?
exactly? And not just that, but why is it not okay to like ourselves? This seems to be a common theme I'm seeing everywhere. Even one of these coaches I follow, she literally said, I'm obsessed with myself. And then she said, and now look at the reaction you just had reading what I just wrote. Why is it so wrong for me to be obsessed with myself? I am obsessed with the person I've become. I'm obsessed with the person I'm going to become. I'm obsessed with the work that I do on myself and the way I help other people. Why is that such a bad thing? Why do we shun ourselves for liking ourselves? And I'm not talking about the physical, although include that in it. It doesn't make you conceited because you like the way you look, because you love yourself. Like my coach just said something, and I'm going to say it now, you guys. Take this with you because this one was a big one for me. If you engage in behaviors that you know are bad for you and don't commit to the ones you know are good for you, is that not the definition of self-hatred? So, what is the definition of self-love? Is the exact opposite. Setting your own standards and then fucking sticking to them. That right there is self-love. When I show up for myself, I'm going to be able to show up for other people, but me showing up for myself is showing myself that I love myself. An example of this with people that I work with in alcohol addiction, know you're drinking a class 1 carcinogen, meaning that that thing can and probably will give you cancer. But you continue to do it, knowing that it makes you or it allows you to make bad choices. It encourages you to make bad choices. You're waking up feeling like shit. You're doing all these things that just do not align. Is that not right there a perfect example of self-hatred? Drinking then would be you not liking yourself. That's going to affect your alignment with yourself and with things around you. So what is self-love? For me, so to me, this is going to be something we're going to get further into in the next podcast, but let's talk directly about that self-hatred. What actions are you taking that are telling your body and your mind that you don't actually give a shit about yourself, which feeds into your I'm not enough?
I think that getting clear on getting clear, like learning your body's language. Remember when we started, I was like, your body's not going to speak English to you. So what is it going to speak? It's going to speak with situations. It's going to speak with feelings. It's going to speak with thoughts. It's going to speak with pictures. So what's the language of your body? Because right now, self-hatred is just like a comfort zone. That's all. And you're in a comfort zone and it's what you know, and then changing it is like too much work. But that's because you're up here. So I think like the work is to just get out of your head, and that means you got to be present, because in your head you're dead, first of all, and then you're running on a pre-wired pathway that you've been running on for since you were 3. Dude, it's an old story. You're not 3 anymore. So why do we like, you have to be 16 to get a driver's license. Why can you be 3 driving your body? No, what do 3-year-olds do? Throw shit,
Have temper
destroy
tantrums.
shit, put face or food in their hair. Like, so it's like when you're clear that you're in your head instead of in your body. And then the other piece is like, that was one of the things that constantly get fucking interrupted this entire goddamn podcast. Was like that anxiety also speaks to you, right? And what do we want to do? We want to go get pills and shut it up. So
Yep.
maybe what would it look
Not
like if
dig
you,
into the core of it.
yeah. What would it look like if you listened to your anxiety and was like, where are you? And then felt it in your body and then really went in there and was like, what have you got for me? Like, what do you need? Instead of pill, this is bad, I'm gonna die.
Yes.
Right? Which leaves
What if you felt it and it will bring you the information? You don't need to
right.
think.
Right.
That's kind of the point of the meditation, is just to hear. And
Right.
sometimes your body can move those into words into your head so that you understand, oh shit. Okay, so the way I behaved in this situation doesn't feel good to me, which is why I have anxiety right now, because I didn't act in alignment with what I want.
And that's what
Mine.
we're looking at next freaking
Yes.
week, is like, how do we get into alignment?
And for me, when I'm not in alignment, I have tension in my shoulder, tension in my neck, these pounding headaches. I'm super grateful I have my coach because I no longer get migraines, but I go into literally shoulders up, headache, and it's like, you're too stuck in here. You need to get out of here. And then because I have this terrible headache, I have to lay down and be quiet. And when I get quiet, I find my answers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I love that we have these opportunities to grow. But today, your guys' homework is going to be to get quiet with yourself and listen.
Right.
Is there a place that I'm feeling anxious? Is there a place I'm feeling depressed? And then just close your eyes and feel into your body. Where is it showing up? A lot of people will say anxiety shows up in their solar plexus or in their stomach. I will tell you that my anxiety will show up in my solar plexus and my hurt shows up in my heart. Where is it showing up for you? And then next week, we're going to give you guys some practical tools and tips on how to get into alignment. And literally take a minute to write down, what do you actually want out of this life?
Right.
What is your ultimate outcome? And happiness should not be the answer, because happiness is a feeling. It's going to come and go.
Yeah.
Contentment, different. But happiness is a feeling. Motivation is a feeling. Anything that's a feeling means it can come and go. It's not going to keep you in one place. And that's also not the purpose of this life.
Right.
So thank you guys for joining us this week. And I'm super excited to bring you guys the actual practical tools and tips that you can use next week to really dig into changing it and getting back into alignment in life.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us on this spirited journey today.
We hope you enjoyed diving into the world of self-improvement with us. Two sisters who found their own unique paths.
Remember, life is a tapestry of experiences, and it's how we embrace them that makes all the difference.
So whether you're on your yoga mat, exploring mindfulness, or simply navigating life's twists and turns, always keep that spirit and sass alive.
We are Colynn and Meridee Hlokoff, and we're here to remind you that happiness and abundance are within reach.
Stay connected with us on social media and keep those questions and stories coming. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, beautiful souls, keep doing the work, keep sharing your experiences, and keep living a life that's authentically you.
And never forget to add a little extra sass to your day.
Spirit and sass, always.